Behrouz Tabani wins 2 years in a row in Dubai.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Behrouz Tabani, $140,000 richer, qualifies for the Olympia again. But the question is, will he make it to Las Vegas? I'm here with the technician, Chris Aceto, on this Sunday evening. I don't have my kids today, so we're knocking out the show today live. I know you guys love that. What do you think, Chris? Will Behrouz make it to the Olympia? And then after that, we'll analyze the show.
I don't think he'll make it to the Olympia.
I would be very shocked if he did. You know what? Let's play this little clip from Sid Faruqi, our very own, who was out there in Dubai doing a phenomenal job this weekend. There we go. What's going on here? I don't know. Hold on a second. Having technical difficulty.
25 Dubai Pro Champion Behrouz Tabani winning in grand fashion. Behrouz, what kind of a statement do you think you sent with this win tonight?
Okay, I am so happy because I am a champion for second time in Dubai Pro Show, and this stage, mini Mr. Olympia, and very hard.
And many Olympia qualified defeat William Bonac, Beaufort Olympia last year, Nathan Diasha. The list goes on and on. Antonio Burton, who's Olympia qualified. So now the question is this: should you get that visa and you're going to go to the Olympia, what kind of a message do you feel as if this victory, this physique sent to the top class of a Samson Dauda, of a Hadi Choopan, of a Derek Lunsford, and now what you proved you can do here tonight that you can do in October?
He wished to compete in Mr. Olympia with top 3 for sure, Hadi, Derek, and Samson. But as a friendly, he says that it will be a big danger for everybody on the stage for sure.
I love it. 2025 Dubai Pro Champion Behrouz Tabani winning in grand fashion. Behrouz, what
heard it there from our very own Sid.
Why did he use a translator when he was speaking English to Sid? And
I don't. Maybe they were worried that he wasn't saying the right thing. I don't know, but I thought he did very well, actually. It's amazing that he. You know, it's funny because Behrouz can speak English, but Hadi Choopan can't. And Hadi comes here a lot to the United States. To compete.
Well, when you win the Olympia, I mean, do you really? That's his,
I think that Hadi would be very popular here. People like him a lot. I don't know why he's not doing it.
Well, yeah, you're right, but he's popular anyway. But you're right. If he spoke English, of course, he'd be more popular.
Behrouz did a very smart thing, learning English like he did. I just think with the current state of the way it is, and I agree with you, Chris, I think it's going to be very difficult for us to get him here for the October Olympia, unless something drastically changes between now and then.
I guess the question becomes, does Hadi get his visa?
Well, yeah. What do you think? You're a good predictor. You're like the new Swami. What do you think?
It will be harder this time than previous times.
Yeah. You don't think the fact that he's already been here is going to kind of like grandfather him in?
No.
You might be right. It would be a shame if we can't get the best athletes in the world here. I mean, Behrouz, I don't think he's ever made it here, right? He has never been at the Olympia.
No, it's. I mean, of course, Hadi's an unbelievable bodybuilder. One of the in the last 8 years, unequivocally the most consistent in the last 8 years or 10 years or whatever. But Behrouz, I mean, he's an unbelievable bodybuilder, and he has not got a chance to. I think the only reason why people don't talk about him more is simply because he's not been in the Olympia. So he hasn't had a chance to prejudge it and me ask you, well, what are you gonna, what place do you have Behrouz in?
Right, right.
You can't prove your medal 100% until you get a chance to stand next to Olympians, because that is the cream of the crop. And there's always this weird asterisk, like, well, he's not really that good, but he is that good.
Yeah. He's so good, he won $140,000.
Well, he did it fairly. I mean, he did it in convincing fashion, because if you look, this is how good of a physique he has. If you look at him coming out and do his mandatories, he looks good. And when I saw a clip of him doing his mandatories, I said, yeah, he looks good. And I thought, I thought he was better than that. And then, so by himself, it didn't look nearly as impressive as when they compared him, because when they compared him, then you can see, okay, he's really dangerous in a lot of poses for anyone.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the top three here. That's William Bonac to his left, Antonio Burton to his right. And we'll talk about the biggest freak in the show in a little bit, but let's go over this top three here. What wins it for Tabani in your estimation from this video?
Width, back double bicep width, front double bicep width, front lat spread, V taper, no gut whatsoever.
Yeah.
Hamstrings, glutes, back is balanced, traps, mid back, lower back.
He had a little bit of a tan problem at the pre-judging, which he fixed at night. So
yeah, really, he's got big arms, crazy hamstrings from the side, everything that you need to be highly competitive at the Mr. Olympia.
Right. How do you fit him into that whole Olympia lineup? If you have to, the guys competing, where would you say he fits? Is he a top 5 guy?
He's a first call out for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you have to be able to evaluate him based on who he's standing next to. I mean, he's standing next to two great bodybuilders here, and I mean,
but these guys are not top 5 guys,
No, but
Bonac was at one point, but probably not anymore. Yeah.
But if he's, to me, he wins. I mean, he was winning here.
It's close though. I think Bonac looks really good here.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
great. They both look great. Second and third were great. I'm just saying,
it was a good show.
What's that?
It was a very good show. They were deep lineups in all the classes, the 212, the men's open, classic, men's physique. It was packed. And I guess the prize money was one of the reasons why, right, Chris? Like we said.
$140K.
Yeah. For first place.
Bad pay.
It's a great way to qualify for the Olympia with a $140,000 win.
Yeah, 40% increase over last year's first place prize. Big jump.
Before we break down the whole show, I want to just show all the winners. What do you think about this new kid? He's amazing, right? Hold on. I don't know why I'm having problems with this. Is it showing on your end? I don't know. I don't see the
not showing.
Yeah, I think I may have to reboot my browser. Let's see.
You're talking about the kid who won the 212.
Yeah.
He looks. Everything you need to know about him is that. At first, I forgot, and I thought, "Wow, he looks really big," because I thought I was looking at a classic physique. Because he has classic lines. He has Dennis Newman shoulders and
Dennis Newman, exactly.
Tricep shoulders and arms. He's got great legs.
How does a 21-year-old kid get that level of muscle maturity, Chris?
He's going to be really, really, really dangerous at the Olympia, because he does not have weaknesses, and he has super clean lines, great flow. Great.
You won $40,000 too. Not too bad for a 21-year-old kid, right? You and I were starving college kids when we were 21.
Well, he's taking it back to Turkey, which is probably like 140 U.S. dollars.
Probably right. Isn't it funny? Turkey does all the hair transplants, but none of the Turkish men even need hair transplants. They all have the best hair. Best haircuts.
The former bodybuilders from the U.S.
Well, congratulations to him. He did. It was a big win for him. I think he's going to be a big star in the.
I think he deserved the win for sure. He looked. I can't say enough good things about him, but Angel.
Calderon was second.
It's hard to do 2 shows in a row. Reagan proved it. Angel just proved it because Angel was blazing peeled the week before at the Toronto, or 2 weeks before, whatever. Hard to do back-to-back shows.
Yeah.
And here he was in good shape, but not the condition that he brought to the Emperor show.
You know, this kid Nahat has like some really nice, fresh looking muscle too. That it's it really sticks out, right?
Fresh muscle, clean looking physique, clean lines. You know, looks a lot bigger when he gets into the shot, front double, back double.
You think I think he's going to be an open guy at some point, don't you?
Yeah, he could do open. He'll do open at some. He could do open at some point.
Yeah. He'll definitely. I mean, he's only 21. He can grow into that division for sure. So, assuming he doesn't get hurt. You never know. Sometimes guys have problems, like and they have injuries. Let's talk about. Let's see what's next. I have a few things on the agenda before I get to the whole breakdown of the show. I was in Alabama this past weekend where they had the Body B1 Classic, and let's throw up that picture if I can find it.
You trying to call up Michael DeBull in the Classic? Having problems?
Well, I'll get to him in a second. This is Mahmoud El Dara. You guys know him as El Dara. He is one of the more popular Arabic bodybuilders. He's got a crazy YouTube channel in Arabic. He's got over almost 2 million followers. He decided to come back. He had a very bad back injury, I would say 2 years ago, to the point where he had spondylosis. His whole spine was shattered. And they told him, of course, he couldn't even walk. He couldn't feel his legs, Chris. And they told him he'll never bodybuild again. And he started slowly building up again. And his kid, son, 13-year-old son, said, I really want to see you compete. And he said, let me see what I can do. And he was an open guy. He went down to the Classic division, and he's going to the Olympia. The guy won the Classic division here. And he was really good. He was really good. Very impressive. And he'll be on that Classic Physique Olympia stage. Another great guy. Congratulations to him. You also had a client who won a show in China, right? China?
Yeah.
China.
China.
You call him Branch. That's his nickname on Instagram. Let's pull him up here.
Chen Kang. He won, what did he win? Toronto. Was Toronto last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't even remember. 2 weeks, I think.
It was the first weekend in June. I see Keon is chiming in saying he shut that down, so he was giving him some good compliments. What did Cormier say? Look, Cormier's always like commenting on every training.
No,
looks
Cormier,
good. Looks good for a guy who says they don't know how to train. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cormier works with them.
Yeah, I know. He was being sarcastic. He's got really good lines,
Yeah, also good lines. Yeah. I mean, talking the 212 winner from the Dubai branch, they both got great lines.
This guy looks really young too, is he?
Dave, when I first met him, I thought he was like 16.
He looks like a kid to me.
Yeah, he looks very young. I don't really know how old he is.
He's got to be in his 20s. There's no way there's no way he's 30, this guy. So he wins again. What did he win at this show? How much money?
I don't know what they won over there, Isn't there someone who knows? Maybe somebody knows.
Anyone in the comments in the peanut gallery now?
I know it wasn't 70,000 that Michael DeBull won for winning the Classic in Dubai.
Who coaches Behrouz?
Milos.
He does the diet?
Yeah, Milos. He's right on RX Muscle saying, I love you, Milos.
No. I know Emil had some involvement with it. I didn't know if he was doing his diet and his training and everything like that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the scope.
All right. Let's go back to the Dubai show because that's where all the cash was this past weekend. And let's take a look at the biggest freak on stage, because I think a lot of people want to know what we think about him, Chris. And after all, he is Neckzilla, Rubio Mascara. He looks like he gained about 30 pounds last time we saw him, and it's mostly in his legs.
Yeah, he has to be considered. He is a freak of freaks. When I saw this video posted up on Instagram on RX Muscle, without seeing anyone else, I said this absolutely is the winner or fifth place.
Yeah.
And he was 6 by a point, so he only missed the fifth placing by 1 point. And my thought is that you either reward just absolutely zany body parts, or you judge them against, who I hadn't seen yet, the rest of the crew who in the lineup, where you're measuring everything outside of just body parts, flow, condition, and he's he's so freaky here. It's unreal.
I said what I said to Chris was earlier, and Chris agreed with me, is that he looks like we wanted Ramy to look. When Ramy first hit the scene, Ramy was the biggest thing we'd seen. We said, man, if he can get hard and just get separated, he looks like Ramy, like size-wise and conditioning-wise, but he doesn't have Ramy shape. Like Ramy was super wide and had a better taper. Rubio's kind of a little narrow on top, and it's like this is like a conglomerate of body parts. It doesn't necessarily flow as well as Ramy, and I think that's where his problem is. I don't know what he can do with this. Where do you see him going? I mean, I think this guy can get bigger, Chris, which is scary. I wonder what he weighed for the show.
Look at the ab shot, Dave. He's
got a good ab shot. I know.
The ab shot was astounding.
You see how his shoulders are a little, as Chris Cormier likes to say, he's a little pinched. A little tight.
He doesn't have the greatest flow, but he's got flow to me. I mean, he's freaky. He'd win. Yeah. Dave, he could win so many pro shows.
Oh, I know. This is
If he pulled a SAS and did 6 shows in 6 weeks, he'd probably win 5 of them.
If he won this show, would anyone complain?
No, because then we would just say, like, we love the freak.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I said 5th or 1st, because he is a freak. I don't know if Lee Haney would like the physique, but, I mean, if you appreciate freaks, he is so crazy looking. I mean, the quads, the legs, the side tricep, the arm, the shoulder. He's nuts. We lost Dave. Hurricane is coming.
I'm back now. I'm trying. For some reason, my camera is it's got a weird. It's not resetting properly. I don't know what the problem is. It looks kind of.
When you post something up and then you come back to your.
I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm looking where I'm supposed to look.
Yeah, I'd like to see an interview with him and Sid. See how he felt, because that's it's a tough placing to get, and he was in his best shape by miles, and he even got bigger than he was previously.
Yeah.
You know what?
His legs are outrageous.
The Olympia crowd would just love to see him. That's for darn sure. They'd go nuts.
I think he'll be a popular guy. I hope he continues to do a few more shows, Chris, to qualify for the Olympia, because he can definitely do that for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, because I think that what the problem is, if you don't have him winning, then you can't have him beat those top 3 guys, but because it's like, because what if you put him second? I mean, then what's the criteria you're judging him on? I have to like talk to Steve Weinberg or someone and see what don't you guys like about him? Other than the fact he's a little.
I'd love to know the answer because I didn't watch. I wasn't there, but I saw the the pictures and like I said, first to fifth. I mean, now, of course, I would have Tabani. Once I saw Tabani, he's not beating Tabani. Tabani's just got too much.
Wow.
Yeah, the wow factor. The V taper is impressive, and and same thing goes with Bonak's got his own freakiness going on. So, and then of course Antonio Burton looked blazing and phenomenal. Just a better bodybuilder, put together better than Nexilla. So, I mean, I see the quote low placing.
I think that Rubio is probably very disappointed because let's face it, he did a lot. He looked good. I mean, he put on size, he made improvements, he brought better conditioning. His posing was really good. I don't know, did Cormier help him? I know Chris was trying to help him, Richard, but so whoever helped him with his posing was very smooth. I thought he looked very professional to me. I think he was. I have to believe that he was disappointed with sixth place.
Yeah.
Because I think all his handlers around him were probably telling him, "You got the show. This is yours. You're the biggest guy. You're hard. I don't know if it's the hardest guy, but he was hard. And your presentation's good. No one's going to be bigger than you. You're going to go in there and dominate the show. You're going to win 140 grand. I'm sure in his mind that's what he was thinking. And then to come out with sixth place, I think it's got to be a huge disappointment to him. I really do. And I hope he doesn't take it too seriously because bodybuilding is bodybuilding. And not everyone likes your physique, and you can do a show next week and you can win. So don't give up. Don't get discouraged, Rubio. I'm telling you, your day will come. The guy has got insane size. He should be in a freaking movie the way he looks. He looks like a monster from another planet.
Well, the Portugal show's in like a couple weeks, July 6th or 8th. So, right. I mean, he can go there. You're not going to have Behrouz. You're probably not going to have Antonio. You're probably not because he's qualified. You may have the Sass of England. Well, Sass is from England, but seems like how many shows has Bonac done this year? Bonac may do that.
Oh my God! Yeah, he must have made a fortune this year in prize money.
But if it's the interesting thing though, Dave, is if you minus out all those guys and let's just say it's a 2-person show, then you have Bonac standing directly next to Nexilla.
Right.
And it changes the way you judge it a little bit. Because clearly they're both freaky in their own right, but one's just like double the size.
Well, the flex weekend in Italy is next weekend.
Oh, that's
I'm looking
right.
at the schedule. He can do that. But I got news for you. If I were Behrouz Tabani, I would hit all these European shows because he might never get to compete again this year. I would do the Italy show. I'd do the Mr. Big Evolution in Portugal the week after that.
Dave, every week you say, if I was, then you say you would do every show. And the truth is, if you're a pro bodybuilder, you would have broken records. Milo.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying the reason I say this about Behrouz is because Behrouz is most likely not going to make it to the Olympia. You said
Dave, here's a conversation if I was coaching you and a pro bodybuilder. You do every show, and I'd say, Dave, maybe not the Flex Pro. Your body's just hanging by a thread. You tell me, no, if I can pick up some prize money. If I don't, I can make connections for business. So you do every single show.
You're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. What are you going to say? Oh. It's a shame that these Iranian bodybuilders are going to have trouble getting to the Olympia, and I don't have a good feeling like you do, especially with what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah,
it's going to be very difficult for them to get in here.
What about so second was let's talk about second, third because I think they.
Well, you have Bonac and then you have Antonio Burton. So, I mean, it was very close. I looked at the scorecards. And Bonac wins by 1 point prejudging, and won by 2 points after the night show. So it was very close. It was like a 3-point decision between those two guys. They matched up really well, actually. To be honest, I think Bonac has a little more wow to his body. That's why
he just got. I think he's got still more genuine thickness than Antonio. Although Antonio, can create the illusion. Well, he looks great. I mean, there's nothing out of all the physiques up there. There's nothing negative you can really say about his physique.
No.
About any of the poses. He's strong on all the poses, exceptional condition. Just, he is, without a doubt, the most polished guy in that lineup.
Tony Burton?
Tony Burton, most polished guy, head to toe. He may not be the biggest guy in the lineup, but in terms of finish, not being flat, not holding water, the right tie-ins at the right places, the right separation, he's got polish in spades.
He's just not the biggest guy up there. That's all.
Exactly.
Some of this guy, I don't know if this guy knows what he's talking about, but I hope he's right. He said, I think Behrouz is being sponsored by Panada. Panada's going to pay some lawyers to make it happen. I think Trump is an entertainer. Trump would like to invite Behrouz and Hadi to the USA. I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
I mean, there's a way, right? There's a way because Hadi's got the exception, and when Hadi got the exception, he was not Mr. Olympia.
No, not at all. But things weren't going as bad as they were going, now. I mean, we just literally bombed the shit out of them. So, I mean, there's going to be some bad blood there. And I don't think the Trump administration is going to trust too many people coming out of Iran, coming here.
You may have to, Dave, intercede and talk to who's a guy who you've had on the show?
Which one?
Roger Stone.
Oh, Roger Stone. Yeah, maybe Roger Stone can get him in here. Maybe Roger Stone, Rick Collins, and King Kamali can. No,
Roger can handle it all on his own.
You think Roger can pull it off? You're probably right. Let's take a look at William Bonac. By the way, all this video is compliments of our very own Sid Faruqi, who was there doing the live stream.
We want to know from Sid, was the hotel he stayed at in
Dubai
nicer than the hotel you stayed at in Qatar?
No, definitely not. I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that. I want to see a Qatar. Look, I think that Qatar should get the Olympia, but if they don't, we should definitely see a Qatar Pro Show. We got to talk to our friend over there and see if we can make that happen. It would be in like a palace probably they would hold at this show.
Let's see. What shows has Bonac done? He did this show.
I can't even remember. I don't even know all of them. That's how many there are.
He did New York. He was in
the Arnold, wasn't he?
He did the Arnold. He's been just going, man.
I think he realizes he doesn't have that many years left to be his best, and he figures, well, screw it. Let me do as many as I can now. I'm looking good. I feel good. I'm strong. My physique is responding well. I think it's a very smart move on his part.
Pulling a Palumbo, we call it. Do every show.
He's pulling Milos, is what he's pulling.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't Milos have like a streak for a while? Of he did every show for like 3 years or something like that.
Every show.
He has over 100 shows done. You know how hard it is to do over 100 shows?
Yeah.
That's insane. Bodybuilding is not like you're playing a basketball game or something like that. It's a lot of stress on the body. Darren Charles did a shitload. I think Darren Charles has probably he's got to be up there pretty high with some of the most wins too. And he did a lot of shows and he won a lot of shows.
Well, when you compete a lot and you got a good physique, you're bound to win a few.
Yeah, I bump into Darren Charles trains at the Dan Solomon shit. The gym that Dan bought in Boca.
Yeah.
It's now called Wolf Fitness. It was Busybody. I always run into, every time I go to that place, I run into Darren Charles there. So he's like a top trainer there. He makes probably a fortune training all the ladies there. They love him. And he still looks like he's about 25. He's got that very young face.
I was actually going to say, I'm sure he still looks young. How's it going?
Oh, he's it's crazy. So I was in Alabama with the Whack Pack. We had a very, very good weekend. I want to personally thank Michelle Prater, who brought us in there. We had Jimmy the Bull, Greg Valentino. Of course, Greg had to bring his girlfriend because he can't travel alone. Romano drove there. Mr. G came. Larry Pollock was there. And
Lee Priest?
No, Lee didn't come. Lee, I think, is very upset that he didn't go. But hopefully, if we can do it again next year, I'd love to get you there. You'll never be allowed to go. But
Lee didn't want to have to listen about Valentino's spleen.
It's his gallbladder.
Gallbladder. Close.
Don't give him any more problems than he has already. Actually, Greg was eating carbs. He seemed like he was on like some kind of like someone had put him on Adderall or something like that because he had a lot of energy this whole weekend.
Well, he's probably just happy to see the Whack Pack in person.
You know, it's funny. The show itself, the NPC show, didn't have as many competitors as I would have liked to have seen. It was only like 95 or something like that with cross-offs. But the pro show was top notch. They had the men's physique. It was great. The guy who won, Ruben Glass, I met him at another show. He's actually somehow related to Charles Glass. They're not really sure exactly how they're related. They know they're related. And Chris, listen to what this guy did. He competed in Kentucky on Friday night and won the pro show there. And then he drove to Montgomery, Alabama, and he won the pro show on Saturday night there. How crazy is that? That's got to be some kind of record, winning 2 pro shows in the same weekend.
That is crazy. That's so impressive.
I said the only thing that could eclipse that, Ruben, would be if you could win 2 pro shows on the same day. In other words, do one of these shows where they do the whole show in the morning and then drive to the next show and knock out the next show. You can do that.
There's a clause with the IRS. If you win two pro shows on a weekend, you don't have to pay the taxes on them.
Oh, there you go. There was another guy there, Chris. The irony of the whole story is that there was another guy who did the same thing, did both shows, except he came in second in both shows. I said, he probably thought he was going to get a chance to win a show, and then you showed up at this show too. I said,
yeah, he should have cut the tires on the kid who won.
So yeah, that was great. And I told you, Eldora won the classic physique, and then there were 2 women's divisions. But it was a great weekend. I highly encourage people. I did a really good seminar on Friday night. I talked about longevity supplements, and then I had the Whack Pack panel we did. So, and Michelle gives away a ton of free stuff to all the competitors. If you guys put it on your calendar for next year, the Body Beat One Classic, you can go to bodybeat1classic.com and make sure you do that show next year. I'm telling you, you could have got a nice pro, or I should say like USA or national qualification knocked out of the park right there. It's a great pro show to watch. Everyone interacts. It's a very intimate environment. You get to meet me and all the crew. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun this weekend, and you know what? There's not that many shows I can say where I have a lot of fun. I have fun, obviously, when we go to the Arnold and the Olympia, but to be able to go someplace and hang out with all my friends and have a good time and actually talk bodybuilding and actually help all the competitors, and once again, all these people were able to talk and interact with us because we were just backstage hanging out, and it was a small event, and so it really went really well. So, and we had a phenomenal dinner at Rovello, which is a top level. Matter of fact, Rovello is an Italian restaurant, Chris. Last year, I don't know, you probably don't remember the story, but I was walking around with Lee Priest and Michelle, the promoter, and we were trying to figure out where to eat. And some guy comes running out of this building, which was the restaurant, Rovello, and he said, "Oh my God!" He goes, "You look just like Lee Priest."
Oh yeah. Go ahead. I know.
I said to him, "Well, if he is Lee Priest, you think he can get us a table? Because we're looking for some place to eat." He goes, "If he's Lee Priest, you're going to get a VIP table." And sure enough, he gave us the VIP upstairs table, which we didn't have last night, but we had it when Lee was there. And we had a great dinner there. So we had another great dinner Saturday night. Thanks, compliments to Michelle. And we had some Vino Viagra. We had some wine. We had the Blackman bottle of wine, and everyone had a good time. So thank you, Michelle. And like I said, if you're in the area next year, or you want to come and do a good show, plan your contest season. Try to get to the Body V1 Classic in Montgomery, Alabama next year. All right, that's my little.
Are they bringing it back next year, Dave, for the third time?
She says she is. Yeah, she's a glutton for punishment. She wants to bring the WAC back. She's the only person I know who can get Greg Valentino and Jimmy the Bull to get on an airplane and actually go someplace. Hold on, I'll play this little clip. This is classic Greg. Yeah, here we go.
See it, and I got a steak burger. We are in the only vegan restaurant in all of Montgomery, Alabama. What do you got there, Greg? It looks like meat. You're a meat eater, but that's not real meat. What is it?
I'm a fucking diabetic. If Lee Priest was here, he'd be breaking my balls because now I gotta have to eat this because that's fucking mushrooms, and I don't eat mushrooms.
I'll take your mushrooms.
You want them?
Yeah, I will. What is that? Is that supposed to be a Philly cheesesteak?
That's what's supposed to be.
But it's not real meat.
No, it's
How
not
does it
meat.
taste, though?
It's like white check.
No, you like it. How's that?
That's great, girl. So we also reenacted. You remember the scene in Bigger, Stronger, Faster where Greg's eating that big piece of steak?
Oh, yeah.
It's like running down his face, and he's talking about how Arnold is nowhere to be seen, and Arnold, is how come Arnold's not standing up for all the? Well, we reenacted the scene. We got him a huge T-bone steak, and he was eating it with his hands, and he was talking about how Arnold did a great job on The View. First the Sonny Holston and Joey Behar, and how they were talking about immigrants, and they were trying to get him to side with the illegal immigrants. And he said, "Listen, I'm an immigrant. I love the fact that I have all these responsibilities. He's got these great opportunities here, but it has to be done legally. And immigrants have an onus of responsibility to give back to the country that gave them these opportunities, and they shouldn't be doing negative things." And he really stood up for for the legalized immigration, type of the people coming legally here, and he shocked the shit out of those women. That's for sure.
Whoopi Goldberg blow a gasket?
Yeah, well, Sonny Holston was putting her hand on his shoulder, to try to tell him stop, and Arnold doesn't. You can't stop. Arnold's at an age where he doesn't give a shit what he says. It's he's like our fathers now. He just says whatever's on his mind, and I think he got a lot of new fans on this day. I never really was a lot of people thought when he said "screw your freedoms" that everyone got all down on him. I think he was taken out of context, and to be honest with you, I never really held that against him. I thought people really were kind of trying to cancel him.
Well, he was. If you look back in the frenzy of frenzies,
yeah,
making a statement based on the information that he was told.
Yes,
right.
If
you at the time, it was essentially told to people, if I got within 6 feet of Dave Palumbo and he had COVID, I'd definitely be dead him up.
Yeah.
So
he had bad data. That's exactly what he had. You're 100% right.
If you put it in that context, I understand his point.
What he should have done is, I said this to me, he should have just gotten on social media and said, you know what? I know you guys don't believe it, but first of all, I had bad information. I was just trying to help out, the situation. And I don't, obviously I'm an immigrant. Freedom is the most important thing. Freedom of speech, freedom of this, freedom of that. What I was saying is, if you got to put a mask on, put a mask on. Stop fucking complaining, And you know what? Maybe I misspoke, and maybe I came off too. He should have just apologized. And no, everyone loves Arnold.
Well, if you had people dropping like flies, it was implied people were going to drop like flies, total numbers, then he would have been right in that context,
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of people were wrong because they did. But you know what? He should say, "I got bad information," and you know what? And I'm embarrassed by the fact that I said that. And if he did that, people would respect that. But I think a lot of celebrities have this. They're afraid to admit they're wrong about anything. And I think that when you admit you're wrong, because I do it a lot, I've been wrong about this. And when you admit you're wrong and you go on the record and do it, people respect that because they see that you're a human being We all make mistakes. We all say things we shouldn't say at one time or another. No one's perfect. And I think that would have made him seem much more personable to the average person, because he does stand up for rights, and he does say stuff like what he did on The View the other day. And most of the time he does say the things that we're all thinking in our brains and are afraid to say, maybe. So, you know what? If you make a mistake once or in a while, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I screwed up. That's all. Shoot me. You know, what are you going to do? All right. Someone says your room looks like Hannibal Lecter's jail cell with all the drawings on the wall. All right. Here. I don't know. I should. You know what I did? I should have rebooted my computer before we started the show, and I'm paying the price. Can you see me still?
I can see you. You look like. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm distorted. It's distorted. Yeah.
No, I don't think you're that distorted, are you?
Yeah, I am. The camera's distorted.
You look like that.
All right, give me your impression now. We're getting closer. We have a really good. Everyone's pretty much qualified for the Olympia. Who's going to be doing it, right? Everyone's got the Olympia qualification. We have the Olympia coming in October, which is just around the corner now. And you know the summer's going to fly. We're in July, August, September. We got. I mean, guys are on there have started their contest diet, right? I mean, your guys all dieting for the Olympia already?
There's 12 people I'm coaching for the Olympia.
Yeah. Have they all started their diet?
Dieting. I don't even dare, because I'm just going to be so like, well, not overwhelmed, but I can juggle 3 balls pretty good, but I don't know about 12.
Well, you'll just have to get there 2 weeks before. We'll have to get permission from.
I leave on Monday.
What?
I'm going on Monday.
Oh, you're going. Chris is going to have to get a visa from his wife, though, to go. That's the only problem. Which might be more difficult than getting one from Donald Trump. Yeah.
My visa was rejected, and I'll say, how much is the hotel bill for that Olympia? Oh, that year I left like 4 months early. It was like $62,000.
Oh my God! I should just send a camera crew there and just film you for the year. Chris is going to be there the whole month of October.
I told my son, I told my son, I said, you have to go to help me. Can you get out of school like for a week? He said, what do you mean help you? And I said, like, believe just like, can you be in charge of like Ubers and Lyfts? Like, it's just
Chris doesn't know how to work the app. That's why, yeah.
No, but it's too much for me, like having to wait.
Oh, so you needed an assistant now, is what you're saying to me? Yeah.
I need an AI assistant.
Yeah. You need one of those Optimus Prime robots that Elon Musk is.
You know what? I heard from somebody the other day, and he's friends with Sassarati, and when me and Sean Roden and Eduardo Correa. At the beginning of that tour, Jose was with us too, but it was extended with us 3. Eduardo, me, and Sean. Mm-hmm. It was grueling back to back shows. And we met someone in England. We were just so beat and tired. He was like our AI before they had AI assistant, like get us to the gym. We didn't have to think about anything. You know, food, okay. We'll get the food here. Just ask him. We need to get to the gym. Come pick us up. Bring us to the gym. We need to go here. We need to go there. We need this. We need that. Tanning. And it just made everything incredibly easy period of time when we were in England. And I still keep in touch with him. This is 13 years later, which seems like yesterday.
You need manager management. You need. You don't.
Manager man. But I can't afford him because by the look.
Well, Jay would never let manager man go anyway. He's got him locked up, I think.
And the commissions that he takes, I don't think I can afford it.
Can't afford the commissions? I guess. Oh, my God. So going into the Olympia this year, I mean, obviously you got a lot of horses in the race, but what do you think we're going to see from Samson? We saw there's some footage of Samson at 330 pounds or something like that on the internet floating around now. Is that a good thing for him to be at this point? Is that a dangerous thing for him to be at? In terms of like, is he too heavy? Is he going to have to diet too much? Is he going to be able to diet that much, given that he competed earlier this year?
It seems like logical. You know, it seems like it would be like a logical starting spot. You know, with the body, you just never know how it's going to react. So, I mean, you know, he could be, he's, 5 pounds over and not look as good as he's looked, or he could be like 60 pounds over and people say he's too fat and look the best. So, I mean, you never, right?
No, I know. You're 100% right.
You know, and if he stayed only 5 pounds over stage weight and everyone was critical of it and came in at his all-time best, it would look like a fool. Contest
330 pounds, right here, Chris.
60 pounds and came in at his all-time best. So you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. He looks big there, though.
He looks like a monster.
Yeah, big arms. First thing I noticed is the arms. Second thing is his chest.
You know what the funny thing is? He doesn't look that much. He looks pretty hard here too, doesn't he? He's got abs and everything like that. He does. It's funny when he gets ready for a show, he doesn't get that much harder than he is in the off season.
I mean, some of the fattest bodies get peeled out of their minds, and some of the people who don't get fat struggle to get really hard. If that is very,
he's got hamstrings, Chris, and everything. You know,
very illogical.
It must be. He must be frustrated because he's got so much muscle in the off season, and he's so big, and he's relatively lean too. And then he starts his contest diet, and he's dropping all this weight, and he's not really getting that much harder. You know?
Well, I think if you put it into perspective, you know, he's had to go up like at the Arnold against the all-time hardest and best Derek's ever been,
Right.
and then lost the Arnold the year before to the all-time hardest Hadi.
Yeah.
So if those guys were not in the show, we'd say this is his all-time best condition and the winner. Right?
No, you're right, 100%.
So, I mean, it's like me seeing Nick Ziller and say, this guy's got to win. And then I thought, well, maybe he'll be fifth without seeing anyone else. So it's all they're standing next to.
If Samson can get even remotely close to what Rubio looked like in terms of conditioning, it would be lights out for everyone, I think.
Yeah. No, well, can you imagine if he got Hardy's condition?
Well, yeah, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. But I mean, Rubio wasn't like, Rubio doesn't have an unattainable level of conditioning.
Dave, if you listen to the internet, it can happen. It's just all he needs to do is like follow high diet, fish and cardio.
The Kevin Levrone diet. Fish and vegetables for 12 weeks. Kevin would add 20 pounds of muscle while I was doing that diet, too.
Dave, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm not kidding. We're really not kidding. That's the funny thing.
I was just going to say he'd grow on that.
Yeah.
I like Kevin telling me, he said he would not hallucinate, but his blood sugar level would drop so low from being on like nothing.
Oh, it had to, yeah.
That it didn't bother him. He probably, because if your blood sugar level gets really low, then you don't think of hunger anyway.
No, you get almost a little high. You know, sometimes I get a little low in the morning, like before I wake up. You know, because I'll take a long-acting insulin at night and before bed, and I wake up a little low, and I test my blood sugar. I'm like 60, and I'm like, holy mackerel! But you almost get a little high. I don't get that hungry anymore. Valentino's, when you walk around with very high blood sugars, and then you go a little low, like to 80, which is not really low. It's really kind of normal. You'll feel like you're at 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When your blood sugars run normal, okay, and then you go a little low, you might not feel it. You know, I can get away with 60, 65, and I'm like, I'm a little hungry. I'm a little shaky maybe, but nothing where I'm like passing out. If you put someone who's got high blood sugars and then you put them down to 80, 75, they're going to think that they're at zero. They're going to be like, because their body's not used to being that low blood sugar. So you basically get used to high blood sugars, which is not good because it's almost like that's the only thing that makes you feel normal. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's when you're getting all the side effects with it. So you really don't want to do that. You know, it's not conducive to being very healthy, put it that way. And, the problem with high blood sugars is also, it's not just the high blood sugar that causes the problems, but that's people with high blood sugars have a higher incidence of coronary artery disease. They have a higher incidence of chronic inflammatory diseases, autoimmune diseases, like anything that, if you have too much sugar in your blood all the time, it can be 10 points high. It predisposes you to other illnesses. And that's the problem, really. Syndrome X,
I don't have a problem with high blood sugar level. I just have probably high.
Because you fast. That's why you're a faster, Chris. Chris eats like maybe one meal a day, so that most of the day he's fasting. So you'll probably live to 130 with that methodology going.
I'll be 130, Dave, and I'll say, the bodybuilders back in 2023, the shape was better than what's.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited. The season's getting good. I mean, Dubai was a success. I'm sure Beta will even get more money now from the Dubai tourism board there, and I bet they'll raise the prize money to $200,000 next year. The question, Chris, is, and I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to put you on the spot again. What will Jake Wood raise the prize money to at the Olympia this year? Do you have a number you want to put on the record?
50.
Arnold 750 for 2026. Will he go higher than that?
Well, I'm sure he's talked about $1 million. That I will tell you.
You think they've had that discussion? Yeah. Okay.
Entered the discussion, and they're guaranteed they're trying to put the numbers to figure out how that works. They would like to do 100, guaranteed. Guaranteed. The problem with the Olympia is that you mentioned the guy did 2 shows, right? He won a show on Friday, drove to another show on Saturday. Jake should be happy about that because now he's got to fly one guy.
It's one less guy he's got to fly out there, right?
But he'd have to fly the other guy to the Olympia. So what I'm getting at is that the costs, the outgoing costs to run the Olympia is kind of like a weight that keeps it from, having the announcement, we're doing 1 million.
Well, they got to see how much money they make. Look, they've already, I think, sold out all the tickets. So
yeah, no, I know that. And they've sold out. Someone asked me today, can you get tickets? And I'm like, no. And they were like surprised. You can't get tickets? I said, no one can get tickets. It's sold out. Which there may be some places where you can, right? Some website or something. I'm not sure, but
I'm sure you can get them bootleg. I'm sure you can buy like scalpers that are selling those tickets.
The 2 limiting factors on the 1 million, which I'm sure Jake wants to give, is that the theater is limiting because it can only hold so many. And I think that's a mistake to have it in a smaller theater. I think they should have it. I think if they had it at the Orleans and sold 10,000 tickets, 10,000 people would come, even though the seats aren't, quote, as good. And then the outlay, of course, is astronomical with the number of people who qualify for the show, which is very, very different than, Dubai. How many athletes do you have? Which, is different from Pittsburgh, which was an incredible lineup, but they had like, I don't know, how many open guys, 10, not, and in Classic, they might have had like 17. I don't know. But at the Olympia, you're paying for, God, how many people in for the Classic Olympia? 60 maybe? I don't know.
It's an insane amount of people, yeah.
Funny, Dave, the growth of the sport is, in terms of total number of competitions, pro shows, is straight up. But it kind of puts a lid on the prize money for the Super Bowl of Bodybuilding Olympia simply because, you have this, how many different ways to qualify in bikini and men's physique, in open bodybuilding, in 212 bodybuilding, in wellness, all the classes have to be, with the winners, have to be flown in.
And you're right. I think they should, look, I've said it before, I think that Jake should say, you know what, I can't finance everyone. Top 10 get reimbursed for their hotel and flight. Anyone out of the top 10 pays their own way. That will recoup so much money to be able to put towards prize money. That's got to be right there, ridiculous.
I think fair is, I think that's a little brutal right off. But I think like top 15 in the classic, top 15 in bikini, just take top 15. Start with that. We'll pay all your expenses. Your flight, your food, whatever. Per diem plus the hotel, and then see where that goes. I mean, you still qualify for the Olympia just because you could have got 17th one year and won a pro thing, and 17th, and you go again, and then all of a sudden you make a big leap. And you're in the top 15, and this time you get your expenses paid.
Yeah, whatever. There's got to be some sort of. There's got to be an elimination round.
As long as the caveat is, though, I think that'd be a good idea if it's put back into the prize money for not only the people winning the show, but maybe spread that out to. It's great that the guy who wins the show at the Arnold.
Yeah,
500 this year, but what about 10th place?
They give away nice prize packages for the top.
Yeah, I mean they spread it down. Classic and.
Look, it's the Super Bowl. Not everyone should get paid. All right. The fact that you made it there is great, but if you want it, they should. I personally, this is what I would do if I were Jake, because I want to make this thing. We're talking about it's a business, right? Yes, it's a passion project too, but it's a business. Top 3 get prize money, okay? Top 10 get like some kind of medals or something like that, or whatever you want to give them, or maybe get some companies to put up some free stuff. I don't know what you want to give them, but top 3 first. It should be like the Olympics: gold, silver, bronze. You can give away a shitload of money to those top 3 guys. It is the Super Bowl. It's not the Little League World.
No way.
World championships, regional championships. This way, and you can pay for the top 10s, hotel, airfare, and food.
Wait,
that's it.
Fucking prize money?
I don't care. It's the Olympia. Why does everyone have to get prize money? I don't understand it. Why?
So, because it's professional bodybuilding.
Yeah, well, good. You won money everyone who made it to the Olympia won a pro show, and they won money to get to the pro show, to get to the Olympia.
You didn't actually. Let's be honest. You could win. You could be 9th at the Classic Olympia. You could have won a pro show, won $2,000, and to get to that pro show, your expenses to get there that weekend were $4,000. So you're down.
They picked the wrong pro show. What do you want me to tell you?
I thought
you know what? If you did such a shitty little pro show and you had to spend all that money, you're probably not going to place top 3 at the Olympia anyway.
Maybe it's not a professional sport after all. If you're going to the biggest bodybuilding show on the planet and you get 5th place, no prize. Are you saying no prize money for 5th?
I'm giving top 3 only. That's what I would do. There's too many divisions. I want to give away a lot of money. I'm going to give $1 million. I'm going to give $1 million to first place. I'm going to give $250 or $300 for second, and I'm going to give $125 for third. And I'm going to do that for the classic physique division as well.
And 0 for 4th.
What?
And 0 for 4th?
0 for 4th. This way I don't have to. I can take all that money and I can give it to the other divisions. So I can bring classic 212. I can bring all those guys up to par with the other divisions.
If you were 5th place at the Olympia, 5th on the planet in any division, and you didn't get paid, I think you'd feel different.
Sorry. Use that placing to make your own money. This is not. Everyone doesn't get a medal here, Chris. That's just my belief. Now, if there was only one division of bodybuilding, one division of women's bodybuilding, I'm all for giving more prize money. But we have like all these divisions. We can't give it. Look, you know what? If it wasn't for Jake Wood, there would be no Olympia. No one in their right mind would put up all that money for that much show. Jake, this is a passion project for Jake. And you know what? He's trying to keep the sport alive. There's no business model for this, Chris. You can't support it.
I'm not sucking up to Jake and saying if there was no Jake Wood, there'd be no Mr. Olympia. 1,000% guaranteed there'd be a Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, well, things would change a lot, though. It would not be doing it the way they're doing it now. It's not a viable business right now. It's not.
Why? Do you know the numbers?
I know that there's no way he's making money, and he's got to be losing a lot of money on this.
Well,
you and I can sit down and figure the numbers out. You know how expensive that hotel is?
No, the sponsorship. I mean,
The hotel alone is a fortune.
Any business doesn't have killer numbers unless you're selling drugs or, you know, gambling business, drug business. Maybe if you're selling cigarettes, you have Philip Morris at the margins.
Yeah.
Any business.
I remember talking to Wayne D'Amelia, and he was giving me the numbers when he used to run the Olympia, and they only had, you know, so many divisions back then. Now they have double or triple the amount of divisions, and everything's more expensive now, from hotels to airfare to food.
Saddam had weapons of mass destruction before I trusted the numbers.
And they're giving out more prize money. How can you make money on this? It's impossible. It's impossible.
Well, it's not a hobby, so he is making money. But I will not say that bodybuilders who are 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Mr. Olympia should not be paid well.
Well, then don't expect the prize money to go up too much, because otherwise, where's the money coming from? I'm just saying if the goal is to raise the prize money, to give $1 million away to the first place guy, maybe $750 to the classic guy, and $500,000 to the men's physique guy, the only way to do that is to just give top 3 money. That's all.
Can you imagine the guy who got 4th, and after prejudging, Steven Tyler had him 2nd, and then he drops to 5th, and they say, you know what, you look like crap on the 2nd night. We gave.
He blew it. Then you blew it. That's all. It's the Olympia. It's a Super Bowl. If the quarterback for the Super Bowl team, one of the Super Bowl teams, has an off day and he throws for 10 interceptions, okay, then they don't win and they don't make any money. Only the team that wins gets paid. I'm not comparing it to the Super Bowl, but funny. But it's our Super Bowl, so why do we have to give everyone a fucking participation check? I don't understand it. They
earned it, and you know what? Without guys 1 through 10 in the Olympia, Jake wouldn't have a show.
I agree with that, but you know what? You want to give away big money. That's how you do it. You give it to only 3 people, like the Olympics do.
Well,
gold, silver, bronze.
Frankly, the Olympia. While I'm on the topic of money, the Olympia livecast is just. I mean, does that add a lot of value? It could add a lot of value, but I think the production value of it, or the level of interest in it, other than getting to see when you're sitting at your house in Michigan or France, and you get to watch the prejudging.
Right.
There's a lot left on the table in terms of the experience. Let's just say that. So there's revenue that could be created from that.
Sure.
I just will always put the athletes first, and I'm not worried about it.
I want to see these guys make money, but I'm being realistic. I want to see big prize money, and I'm thinking it's the Olympia. Why do we have to give everyone a check? I don't get it. I'm just not understanding why everyone is entitled to a check. Jake, and why does Jake have to give him the check? I don't understand why the guy who's the promoter of the Olympia has to pay these guys. It doesn't make sense to me. They should have deals with their own sponsors that say, hey, if I make it to the Olympia, I get a bonus check. That's all.
Jake has to give him the money because Jake's the one who sells the tickets. And Jake's the one who collects the checks from the sponsors.
Right, but the people are coming to the show for the best guys.
But challenge that. Jake wants to give up the Olympia, somebody else will step in. Guaranteed.
I'm sure someone will, but you're not going to. No one's going to give away money and lose their shirt on a show, because I don't think there's a lot of people out there that have enough money that would be willing to do that. Now, if someone can come up with a big time sponsor like Ford Mustang or something like that, or like BMW, and they can step up and they're going to put a couple $1 million into the kitty, that's a different story. So there's really 2 options. You got to get a major sponsor to underwrite this whole thing, or you're gonna have to cut back some of the prize money on some of the other places. That's my solution. It might not be the right solution. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what I think is the solution. I want the athletes to make as much money as possible, but I also want the show to be a viable show that's going to continue on and on and on, because it has a legs of its own. But at some point, it keeps draining bank accounts. People are not going to want to hold it anymore. The other option we talked about is to go to another country and bid it out. Let someone else run it.
Jake does not want to hold it, that's his choice. And if Jake does not want to hold it, you're not looking for 90 different people to bid on it or to take it over. You only need one. It's like selling a house for $30 million. It's not marketed to 300,000 people. The $50 million house is only marketed to a select few who can afford to buy it. So if Jake was not doing the show, I will guarantee you that somebody will step up and buy that show and take that show and be forced to increase the prize money because his competitor, Arnold, even though he only has 10 people in the show, 10, 10, and 10, or whatever it is, 30 total people, they will step up and they will have to offer prize money that's comparable, if not better. Actually, not comparable, but better than the Arnold. That's why I said they're contemplating, I'm sure $1 million has been bantered around. Can they do it? I don't know, because I don't know their numbers. But you know what? If they don't match the Arnold prize money, then it is not the most prestigious show of the year. The most prestigious show, and the athletes will show you that. They will go by voting. If Bader had $900,000 at this show, you would see every single guy. Hardy would do it. Derek would do it.
Yes.
Jackson would do it. Martin Fitzwater, Andrew Jack. Every single person would do it if Bader was handing out $900,000 this year.
And if he does do that in the future at some point, it would make sense for them to bring the Olympia over to the Middle East, because obviously that would imply that there is money there to put up for the prize money for all these placings. But if you notice, Bader didn't hold any women's divisions there; they were all men's divisions.
What I'm saying is the athletes will decide what the most prestigious show is, and they will decide by showing up.
Right, but it's going to be based on prize money. You said it right from the beginning. You were 100% right.
With the opposing trunks, meaning they will show up at the show and make that the most prestigious show simply based on the prize money. You can have the Olympia, you can have the Arnold. They really, ultimately, they have a strong meaning. Because there's a history behind them, and there's people behind them, and there's previous champions behind them. But to the athletes, it does not matter. They will chase the prize money, and you will see that. Look at 140 here. I'm stunned. A lot of people didn't go. Classic guys go to Dubai for the $70,000 that Michael DeBull won. Congrats, Michael, smart move.
Yes,
but,
you look great too.
But money talks. That's the end. That's at the end of the day. Money talks, and so we will be revisiting this conversation when Jake makes the announcement, because they will not be keeping the Olympia prize money where it is now. They can't.
It is Michael DeBull, by the way, but I don't want to stiff him on his. He put a lot of size on. When I saw him, I ran into him in the Arnold Classic, and he was in that show, and I ran into him. We were talking in the lobby, and he said he put a ton of size on. So
yeah, he looked great here. He looked fantastic. I think this is the best he has ever looked, and that's not because other people. When I say like, oh, sometimes you don't know if you stand next to other people. I think this look, he didn't really need to stand next to other people.
No, he's very polished, great. Talk about tan presentation. He's got it all, and I think that he definitely deserved this victory. So good job with that. But going back to what I was saying is I think that the only viable solution long-term for the Olympia is to bid it out like Joe Weider used to do, to different countries that are willing to put up and put it, say, listen, if you want to hold this show, you got to give this minimum of prize money out and make it $1 million for first place. And I'm telling you, these Middle Eastern countries will do it. Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar. There's plenty of these countries that love bodybuilding, and they're good destination places now. They're tourism cities. Dubai is awesome. Qatar is awesome. I've never been to Saudi Arabia. I imagine it's probably beautiful too. There's plenty of places you can go and make it a destination Olympia. And you know what? It can go from losing money one year, now all of a sudden the athletes getting paid, and Jake's, making some cash on that show. So that's what I would do. But, I don't own the Olympia, so it doesn't really matter what I think, right? All I know is that we're going to have a spectacular lineup this year with all the guys that have qualified. Hopefully Rubio Mascara will do the show next week in Italy, and I'd love to see him qualify because we need to see that big freakazoid on an Olympia stage for sure.
Oh, they're going to love it in Italy,
Oh, yeah, they'll go crazy for him there. Yeah, crazy.
If he doesn't win in Italy, he can go to Portugal and.
Right. Yeah, he's got a few chances still left, so there's no reason to say write the season off. But I guess this was his debut, right? This was his pro debut. His debut this year, and I'm sure he's got a lot left in the tank. I would hit the next couple shows. Win, lose, or draw. If you win, I would still go do another show. You need stage experience. I think that's going to be good for you. So, congratulations on the 6th place. I know you're not happy with it, but I think we're going to see Rubio move up that ladder pretty quickly. But for now, we are out of time. I want to thank you guys for joining us live as always. And as we say every week with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
We'll see you again next week.